Ari, this is a rematch of the national title game last year that will look nothing like the rematch of the national title game. None of the players are the same except for the Michigan defense. Like, Michigan goes to Washington. Washington is a 2.5-point favorite. And so the line opened, I believe Washington was favored by 1.5. It went up to 2.5 on Monday morning. So I was trying to think, why is this? Because everything we've seen from Michigan so far suggests they should be able to beat Washington, given everything we've seen from Washington so far. And then I start thinking, this is a mostly NFL staff at Washington. Like, Steve Belichick's the defensive coordinator. If you bring a completely one-dimensional offense and put it in front of a bunch of former NFL coaches, I bet they diagnose it pretty well.
Yeah, I think that's the exact way to look at this. Because, you know, the other way, too, is that even if that's not the case, how long can you stay on the Michigan train before you know? Like, I know that the Michigan train is going to be derailed at some point. And I'm just trying to figure out when the time to get off the train would be. I picked Michigan to cover on Saturday, and I thought that that was a stupid pick looking back at it, even though it looked like they were going to cover the entire game. I don't know that I'm going to stay on the train this week, Andy. Like, and I went down hard with Washington on Friday night. I thought Washington would beat Rutgers, and they didn't. And they had a really hard time scoring, and for whatever reason,
statistically dominated the game, though. Like, it's one of those box scores. Because I remember you saying, you know, this is kind of a whale play. There's a lot of folks in Vegas who
we have to relive
this game.
Do we have to relive this right now? That was the worst night of my life. Okay.
Listen, I know, but listen, your analytics were sound, though. Like, the box score said that
I'll just call my bookie and tell him that the analytics were sound, and maybe he'll give me the money back.
The scoreboard did not say that, unfortunately for you. But
no, but you do look at the box score, Andy, and you see a 300-yard Will Rogers performance, and Coleman rushed for 150 yards, and they scored 18 points and lost to Rutgers on the road.
But see, here's my problem. If you do that against Rutgers and you only score 18 points, you're not gaining all those yards against Michigan. And this is the part where I, deviate from what I just said about they've got all these NFL coaches. I think schematically they're going to figure something out. We got to talk about Prize Picks. Download that app. Use the code Staples. Play $5. Get $50 instantly. How does Prize Picks work? Well, you're picking squares. So you've got a player, and they've got a number attached to them. We talked a lot about the Miami-Virginia Tech game last week relative to Prize Picks. And I'm telling you, the folks at Prize Picks hit that nail on the head. Because what did we tell you? Miami may win this thing, but they're not going to run for much, but they're going to throw for a lot. And they got the Damian Martinez number was 61.5. He gained 60 yards. The Cam Ward number was 314.5. He threw for 343. His Demon Square was 349. So they were just right on it the whole way. So a lot of fun. Now, the college football board has not yet been populated for this week. It will start to get populated as the week goes on. So check back Monday night, Tuesday morning, or start to see some college football stuff. That UNLV Syracuse game that we're about to talk about will be one of the first ones to hit. So maybe your first Hajj Malik Williams square. But 2 Monday night football games tonight. They also have the NFL. Let's not forget. So you've got the Titans and the Dolphins. You've got the Lions and the Seahawks. So maybe you got some strong thoughts about Jared Goff. Maybe you got some strong thoughts about Snoop Huntley starting for the Dolphins. Go to Prize Picks. Use the code Staples. Play $5. Get $50. The problem is, I don't know how many NFL players Washington has on their defense. Yeah, I do know Michigan has a lot of NFL players on its offense. Like, it may not be the greatest offense in the world, and Alex Orji's not an NFL quarterback, but the other 10 guys might be NFL players. So that's the part where when you move from the NFL to college, you have to be able to overcome. You can scheme something up great, and they just might out-athlete you, and that's what Michigan may do here. But I do think it'll be interesting to see what Washington does defensively against Michigan, because there's a lot of brain power on that side. that has looked at a completely one-dimensional offense. Do they force Michigan to try something different, to do something different? And we've said this. Michigan did a great job. Congratulations beating USC. You did what you had to do. You were lucky that you played Minnesota. That was the one team you could get away with it against again. Now you're going to have to figure out how to do a little more. But the talent gap may allow them to do a little more. We'll see. I will take Michigan here, especially if you're giving me points.
I'm getting off the train. I like Washington. And also too, are we going to talk about the travel stuff? Like, is like Washington having to fly across the country to play Rutgers last weekend, then fly all the way back at home, and now Michigan's got to get on an airplane? Like, do you think that that's going to have any impact or material impact on these games? Like, how far?
You ever flown a charter flight, Ari?
No, but I have been on a JSX flight though.
I don't know what that means, but
JSX is like the smaller jets that are like,
like a little quasi-private. Yeah. I got you.
Yeah.
So a charter flight's like flying commercial, except you don't have to deal with all the airport BS, and it's great. You get on the plane, you sit there for a few hours, and you're there. So I think I've flown from Detroit to Seattle before. It ain't like you're just sitting on a plane for 4 hours, 5 hours. Like, it's fine. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
So this will be, I don't think the travel piece of it will matter much, but I do think the scheming up of an offense that now we've had 2 weeks of film on, I'm fascinated to see that. Like, what ideas do they put forth? Because they may or may not have the players to execute it. But I guarantee you everybody that's got to play Michigan going forward is taking notes about what these guys come up with to scheme them up.
Yeah, I like Washington for the reasons that you outlined.
Okay, I like it. I'll still take Michigan for the reasons that you consistently outline every day that I've known you. Pure stars matter game. Hurts you, doesn't it?
I'm obviously wrong. Yeah, I've been wrong. We're talking about a team that won the national title a year ago that didn't fit. I'm in a pretzel, man. I gotta go see somebody.